Hey everybody, it's Audrey back again. I have another video to share for Just Nick today, and I'm very excited to be back on the design team for another term. You are going to love the files that are coming up the next couple months. I've seen a sneak peek of them and they are awesome. So this week we are doing layouts about ourselves because we're kind of introducing the design team. And I have some things picked out. I picked out this paper pad and these cards. It's a Project Life set, and I picked it out specifically because it had a big A on it, and my name starts with an A, and so that's why I wanted it. I have gone through and cut out the crisscross file from the Just Nick store, and when I was doing this page, I just thought that I'd pick a file that I liked because this is a page about me. So I just went through and picked something that caught my eye for no other design reason than I just liked it. There wasn't any pink in the papers that I picked out from that 6x6 pad. So I just went through my stash and found this piece of pink paper from, I think it's a basic gray collection. I think it's the B-side collection. And just wanted to add in a little bit more pink just to make it a tad bit more girly. So I really love using like geometric shapes and backgrounds like this that are kind of funky. So this design just really says me. When I laid it out first and put my photo of myself on there, I didn't like how all the lines were laying, so I just snipped a few off, and I think that flows much better with the small photo that I have. So I'm just going through a couple of these Project Life cards that I pulled out, and I love the colors of this collection. There's a little bit of this lime green in it, but I used this collection on another page on a couple of videos ago, and it's when you first look at it, there's a lot of boy colors, so it really looks like a boy, a boy theme or masculine themed line, but I just wanted to use it for a page about me because I like it. So I brought in that pink and the green. And then I went through my stash and found some embellishments. Now, I found these flowers in my stash. They are super old, and they're from Glitz, and I had to go back and look them up. They are from like 2007 or 2008, and I used a couple of them years ago, and I like them. They're pretty. They're nice, thick chipboard, and they have some rhinestones on it, and I felt good to pull something out from my stash. I don't usually use like rhinestones or gems on my page, but they were on there, and they're kind of neat and different. They had a little bling to it. So this is the card, the A with the A on it, and I think it said Adventure. That the whole reason I bought that pack of Project Life cards for. And I just cut out the A because I didn't want the word Adventure on there. I just wanted the big letter A. And I'm just using the flowers here and some of the leaves. The leaves were not exactly the right color. I liked the citron lime green that was in the papers, and that letter A, and the other leaves were kind of more of like a bright, like neon green. So I didn't end up using those. I picked out a few of these cards that had phrases on them from the pack as well, and I liked that one that said "Live it up" because I think that's a good motto for this time in my life. This photo of me is on my 40th birthday, so I just had the big 40 a couple months ago. But I still feel like I'm 20, so I guess that's good. So I'm just going to use, this is pretty much how the page ends up right here with this kind of layout. Now I go through a lot of variations of this before I actually come back and decide this is just how I want it. But you'll see some of the things I do on the background and such. So I've gone through and picked out some other things from my stash that I thought would match this collection. That little chipboard piece that says "Me" is from a basic gray line, the B-side collection, and that little Brad with the red heart and the navy blue is from a super old crepe paper collection. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it is. It's very old though. I mean, well, when I say very old, I mean like probably 5 or 6 years old. I guess that's old in scrapbooking years, but yeah, it's been a while. So there's this other piece of paper that was in this 6x6 pad, the Project Life pad, and it had all these lowercase letter A's on it, so I had to use those too. So I'm looking at this and I think it's just a little tiny bit plain, and I wanted to, I'm going through these papers and things and trying to find little bits to add back in to make it kind of, I don't know, pop a little bit more and add a little bit more interest. I really liked this piece of paper. It kind of has like dishes and stuff on it, and this is so corny, but I'm a stay-at-home mom, and when I think of my life on a day-to-day basis, dishes come into the picture a lot. So I thought, oh, that would be fun to use on a page about myself. So I keep going back to that paper, but um, and you'll see I actually use it, but then take it out again. But anyway, when we'll get there, I'll show you. So I found these little, they're tiny like puffy stickers, and I think they're for planners. I think they're from Me and My Big Ideas, and I found them at Hobby Lobby, and they were actually kind of like in a space in Hobby Lobby. They weren't in like hanging up in the right section. They were just kind of laying out, like somebody had picked them up and set them down. I saw them like, oh, these are so cute, and I went to go look to see if they had any more, and I couldn't find them anywhere in the store. So I guess it was just meant to be. But they're super cute. They're not as big as regular Flair, but they're a little bit tinier, and they have some cute little everyday sayings on it. So now here's something I haven't done in forever. I used a corner punch on my photo because the edges of those cards were rounded. So I wanted to round the edges of my photo as well. So here's where I decide I want to start adding in that paper with the dishes and stuff on it. And I thought, I mean, and a lot of people do this with cut files. They'll take a cut file like this that has some open spaces and they fill the spaces in with paper. And I didn't really plan what spaces I was going to fill with paper ahead of time, and I probably should have, because I probably would have liked it better. So I spend the time going through filling a couple spaces here, and I don't end up liking it very much. I mean, right here I'm like, this could work, but I just wasn't happy with how it ended up. So I undo it here at some point. But the other thing is I didn't think that this color paper was the right color. It was just kind of a little bit drab, and a lot of the other colors on here were bright and fun. And so I know a lot of people when they back their like open cut files like this, some people trace the shapes and cut them out. Some people will actually do it on their silhouette and like enlarge the inside shapes a little bit and then cut them out of pattern paper with their silhouette. And I just glue mine down and then use my scissors to cut around it. So I'm not really perfect. Sometimes I'll use an X-Acto knife if I need to, if the shapes are really intricate or something. So yeah, I don't like the way that those spaces that I filled in the background are there. It totally takes away from the design, and so yeah, I wasn't happy with it. So guess what I do? I'm gonna cut it all out with my knife because it had already dried and was stuck on there pretty good. So that was a waste of paper. Oh well, there was another one in the pack, and I actually bring out the other one too because I still think I want to use it after all that, and I just try different ways of using it. But I have gotten to the point when I scrapbook where I am not afraid to use my papers anymore. If I think it has design potential and I'm not going to be afraid to cut it up and put it on the page how I think it's going to look, because I have a lot more papers laying around that I could use, and there will be a lot more papers to come, I'm sure. So I just felt like the design on the right was a little unbalanced, I guess, because I had that kind of bright project, that card over on the left that said Live It Up, and I just thought I needed to bring something over to the right. So I'm just playing around with some, again, there's a paper with the dishes, and trying to see if I could fill something in the space over there a little bit. I cut that, I don't know if you saw, but I cut that word fantastic out of one of the other Project Life cards, and I just cut the letters out. I really wanted to use it. They're really, really pretty letters. They have like a gold foil line through them, which is hard to see in the camera, but they're really pretty. And I was also thinking in my head of what other words I could make with these letters, but I don't end up using them at all. So I hope I get to use them on another project because they're really pretty. Actually, it would be great to have a whole alpha set with those colors like that with the gold foil through it. So super pretty. So just like me and every other scrapbook page I do, I create a design, I lay it out, I add things to it, I take it off, I lay it back out again, and I do this all the time on my pages. If you watched a couple of my videos, you're probably getting tired of seeing me put things down and then take them off and then put things down again. I know you're probably just saying, just glue it down already. Sometimes I say that to myself as well. So here I am, I actually am going through and gluing down this crisscross background. And after I get it glued down, before I put everything back on, I know that I'm going to stitch over it. So I have gone ahead and stitched over it with kind of a light blue thread, almost like a sky blue thread. It's really hard to tell in the video, but you can see it in the close-ups. And I'm adding this blue mist from Art Anthology, and I don't have it with me right now, but I cannot remember the name of the color, but it's kind of like a navy, but it has a little tinge of purple to it. It's really pretty. But it's not a super deep navy. And then I added some Heidi Swap Citron as well. So I'm gluing those two cards down. I'm going to pop up some of the other little embellishments that I had. I realized I was kind of thinking about what I was going to journal about, what I was going to write about turning 40 on this page, and I probably could fill up more than just one page about it. But after I had thought about it while I was making the page, I was so anxious to get my photos of my layout done that I totally forgot to add my journaling in. So I have to go back and add my journaling at some point. I might even just stick it on the back because I think the journaling, like where you put the journaling on a page, really is important in the design of the page. And I felt like that the design of this page was like finished and completed. I guess I could add some journaling in some of the empty spaces or along some of the lines. I guess that would be kind of cool, the lines of the cut file. So I'll have to go back and look at that at some point. So I'm gluing down these chipboard pieces. I have been better about making sure that when I have chipboard that I glue it down and don't just rely on the glue on the chipboard because it will fall off. And this brad actually has the prongs on it like old brads used to. I'm so glad that they make brads now. Like Simple Stories makes brads without the actual prong backing, and they're so much easier to adhere. So I had to cut that backing off of that brad with my scissors. And I'm just gluing down all the other little bits. Those little kind of like asterisk shapes I cut out of pattern paper, which I also did on the other layout that I used this paper on. I just thought they are just great little design elements, and so I cut them right out of the pattern paper. So I felt like something was missing, that it was just a little empty, and just on a whim, I was going through, I'm not sure what I'm doing over here on the side. I decided that I needed to add something to one of the corners. Oh, I was getting sequins, that's what I was doing. I was looking for my sequins. I wanted to add a little bit more spark to the page. So I just scattered the sequins on, and then I go back and put them down with glue dots. I went a little crazy with the sequins. I do take a whole bunch of them off before the final photo here. So yeah, this is where I'm like, you know what, I want to add something in that top corner. It's kind of plain up there. And I picked this piece of paper with the polka dots and the black and the red. And that just made it feel so much more complete, just that little bit. It's amazing how a little piece like that can totally change the flow and the way that your eye moves across a page. I thought maybe I wanted to add a little bit more of that blue over in the corner, so I punched a heart out, but I don't end up using it because it was kind of, it just was not the right size. So I did, however, add a few leaves underneath the circle where it says, "Oh, happy day." So instead of the heart, I put in a few leaves, and you'll see that here in the close-up. So kind of a different page, but it really does say a lot about me. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much, and I'll be back with another video very soon.